This is Sergeant Charles Dyer on Video Log 3 Part 1. The date is 23rd of April. Time on deck is 1853. On this video log I'm going to go over some of the illegal, immoral, and unprofessional acts that have been committed against my family by different government agencies. I'm going to go over the personnel and what they did. The purpose of this log is to record these acts that have been committed against my family in the case that I am incarcerated, killed, or am unable for some other reason to give my side of the story. Alright, now I've got these set up in a top 10 countdown, so I'll just start with number 10 on here. Number 10 wasn't such a huge deal. Violated one of my rights of the Constitution, my Bill of Rights. Judge Carl Lamar of the Stevens County Courthouse. He gave me, in my eyes, a excessive bail, but looking at what the DA asked for, it was not so excessive. The district attorney was asking for $1 million bail because I went threat to the community, a flight risk, all of these things. Now, I've never committed a crime, never been convicted of crime. I have a perfect record. I have a speeding ticket when I was 18, I think. I'm 30 now. I have dual honorable discharges from the military, not so much as a negative counseling in the military, secret security clearance, worked for the sheriff's department. I've kept my nose clean. However, they thought that necessary to give me a $150,000 bail to keep me from running. And I don't have $150,000 laying around, so I had to rely on my family, my parents. They put their property in their home, the farm, up for mortgage, and had to give $15,000 cash they won't get back no matter what to a bail bond agent. So that's number 10. Number 9. Officer Rusty Smith of the Duncan Police Department. In November, I went over to, and let me back up real quick, I don't live in the city, I live out in the country, 9 miles northeast of Duncan, about 3 miles from Duncan Lake. So, that being said, over at Duncan Lake, they have what appears to be public dumping for trash. They've got a large trash bin, and then all around the lake they have the little white, look like burn barrels, like the 55-gallon drums where you deposit trash. Nowhere around the lake does it say not to put trash there. On the eastern side of the lake, nothing says anything about not depositing your trash. I put 3 bags of trash in these burn barrels. Now, the city workers that were over there found my name in some of the trash, and so I don't know if they knew who I was or whatever. They contacted Rusty Smith of the Duncan Police Department. He's the lake ranger out there, and they got all the trash that they could find around that side of the lake, 13 bags, large hefty bags of trash. They drove 3 miles outside of lake property, backed up. I watched them with my own eyes, and then I videotaped what they put out there. They backed onto my property, and they dumped all these bags of trash, and I bagged them. This was just loose trash that they dumped all over my yard, including but not limited to broken glass, used condoms, all kinds of nastiness from over at the lake. And I bagged that up and paid a guy to haul it off. So, number 9. Number 8, Brett Williams of the ATF. Now this guy, I've sat down and I've talked to him, and he doesn't seem like a horrible human being. However, what bothered me about him here was when I had my bail hearing, my federal bail hearing, he got on the stand and told the judge that I had illegal equipment in my home. That illegal equipment was a silencer for an M4 rifle, and that I was not allowed to have that silencer. I wasn't licensed to have that silencer. Now the facts behind the case were that that silencer was for an airsoft rifle, and it was given to me by YouTube user illchemist07, and I actually have the receipt where that was bought off of eBay, and that receipt was given to them. to prove that it was a silencer. But he got in front of a judge and told him that it was a real, or he didn't say it was a real silencer. He said he was checking, but he said it was a silencer that I had for an M4. Later, we went back and looked that he did know at that time that it wasn't a real silencer, and he had told my family he had it sent to Washington, D.C. to be checked, when in actuality on the report it said that he shined a flashlight into it and knew immediately that it was not a real silencer. But he didn't say that at bail, my bail hearing, and I was eventually denied bail and had to sit in jail for 3 months and wait for my trial, which I was found not guilty of anyway. Alright, number 7, Jason Hicks. He's the current district attorney at the Stevens County Courthouse in this district. Don't have a lot of problem with him. I actually tried my best to get him elected here because he was the best candidate. He just got elected at the beginning of this year. My problem with him, I had a lot of respect with him till this, and I can't speak too much about this because it's involving a current case. However, he helped to suppress evidence for 4 months that a judge finally forced him to give us, and while we had it, we found evidence that pretty much shows beyond a shadow of doubt that my wife did set me up and plan on making false allegations against me. And now that we have found it, he's trying to do everything he can to suppress it and keep the court from using it so a jury can't hear it. So he's not looking for the truth, he's looking for a prosecution, which he's a prosecutor, what do you expect? Number 6, Audrey Caldwell. He was the U.S. attorney for my federal trial. During my bail hearing, he had told the judge that I was a member of the militia and that they had an underground where they could sweep people away and they would never be found again. Now, he was saying this as if he knew this as a fact. The problem is, I'm sitting here saying, wow, he knows something that I don't. Number one, I'm not a member of any militia. Just because I've trained with, different groups, I'm not a member of a militia. There is no one here that would join me. So, he also told the judge that I was a threat to the community, even though I've never been arrested or convicted for a violent crime in my life. He mentioned my speeches to the judge, so I guess I don't have a First Amendment right to speak my mind and say what I want because it will be used against me judicially to keep me from getting a bail hearing or whatever they want to use it against. Yes, and while I was in federal detention, he came to me with a deal. It was about February or March of 2010, and he told me that if I would admit to the crime of failing to register an M203 grenade launcher, that I would be home by Christmas. Now, I told him to shove off a little bit stronger than that, and because of that, about 3 weeks later, my roommate was removed from my cell, my cellmate in the detention facility. And then I learned that Audrey Caldwell was now going to use him as a witness against me because he convinced this guy to roll over on me, basically, and say that I admitted all of my crimes to him. Of course, there's a little thing about they offered him a little time off to say this. So they did that, and because I found some stuff in the guy's trash that he left and made it known, they decided not to use him against me because he had no credibility whatsoever, and it was just a ploy that they were trying to use to scare me into admitting to a crime that I did not commit.
Also, killing Val for $5,000.
Oh yes, I was just informed that just reminded to inform you that he also had the roommate say that I was going to pay him $5,000 to kill my wife. First of all, why am I going to pay someone $5,000 that's going to be in prison for a minimum of the next 8 years or so to pay my wife, or to kill my wife? Second of all, I didn't have $5,000 to pay him in the first place. So, number 5, Brett Burns. This is the old district attorney that got voted out this year, at the beginning of the year. Alright, that evidence that the current district attorney is suppressing, the old district attorney suppressed for 11 months. We asked for it over and over and over again, and he suppressed it and suppressed it and suppressed it. Probably because he knew damn well that that would make him lose this whole thing. He also asked for $1 million bail on the grounds that I was a threat to the community, flight risk, all of the normal BS that the federal prosecution also was saying. He signed the protective order that had my girlfriend's daughter taken from her so that she would have to leave the state and not be able, he was hoping that we would get into some kind of fight or something and get split up so that she wouldn't come back down here and get on the stand for me, because she was present during the time that I allegedly raped my daughter, and she's my alibi, and they didn't want that. During my preliminary hearing, whenever we were going over the rape case, he all of a sudden tells the judge, oh yeah, and this is 7 months after I got arrested, and because I refused to admit to this, he says, oh yeah, the grenade launcher, I want to charge him for that. And the judge says, well, there are some questions of double jeopardy there. He was found not guilty. He says, yeah, that's right, I want to charge him for possession of, what was it? Possession of stolen property, that's right. And the judge says, well, okay, I'll allow it. So now I'm facing the grenade launcher charge again, even though I was found not guilty and proved that I didn't even know that it was a 40 millimeter, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Okay, that pretty much wraps up the first 5. I'll put the next 5 in part 2.